Welcome back to Kosi's Arsenal podcast, and welcome back to the segment Kosi Reacts, where we talk about all the games as they happen. Of course, the selected ones that I think need to talk about. United have just lost to Leicester City 3-1. They've been dumped out of the FA Cup, another quarter-final. They always lose semi-finals. I thought they would lose a semi-final in the FA Cup, but they have lost a quarter-final to Leicester City 3-1. Another performance filled with personal, individual mistakes. Fred making mistakes, Harry Maguire making mistakes, and of course, a performance where I've seen United cannot play without Bruno Fernandes. They started off without Bruno, and they thought, this is a show we need to see. Manchester United without Bruno, but they just can't play with him without him. If you look at that starting lineup: Henderson, Lindelof, Maguire, Pogba, Martial, Greenwood, Fred, who I think has been so sloppy today, Alex Telles, Aaron Van Bissaka, Matic, and Donny van der Beek, who played as a number 10. And I think I need to talk about Donny van der Beek playing into as a number 10. I don't think he's a number 10. I don't think he is that kind of player Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants him to be. I think Pogba had a very good game, by the way. The few minutes I did watch. But I don't know what's wrong with Manchester United. And I think that's the biggest question they have to ask themselves. They have the quality to progress through all rounds, but they can never go through either. If they go through quarterfinals, they'll never reach the semi-final. They'll never go through the semi-finals. If they go to the semi-finals, they'll never reach the finals. I think this was one of the opportunities they had to win a silverware, because I think the Europa League is still hard. Like I told you during the draw reaction, it's not easy. I mean, you still have Arsenal in there. We might not be that big a side, you understand, but it's not going to be easy to beat Arsenal. It's not going to be that easy. I thought, the FA Cup could have been one of the avenues they had to win silverware. They could actually, do ratata, ba ba ba, and then get out there and win that FA Cup. But they've lost to Leicester City in a way you think they shouldn't have lost. Mistakes after mistakes. Harry Maguire, Fred. It looks like they're just intimidated whenever they reach quarterfinals, whenever they reach semi-finals. They're intimidated. They lack that confidence. They lack that. They lack that. Drive that can actually push them to the finals of any competition. Last season, if you still remember, they lost the semis of the FA Cup. They lost the semis of the Europa League to Sevilla, and now they're playing a one Granada, which we think, of course, in the quarterfinals, they're playing one Granada, which we think it should be easy in the Europa League. But you never know. I mean, they have lost to Leicester City. Of course, the game was so competitive. You expected United to come out in such a game, with all their might, but they didn't. I don't know why he rested. He rested Bruno Fernandes. I don't know whether he thinks, finishing second and then winning the Europa League, that is his goal as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Of course, Bruno has had so many games with non-stop. You had to rest him. I personally don't think this is the game you had to rest him. But going into the game, first and foremost, I think United is making a big mistake. You don't need to play Donny van der Beek as a number 10, because he is not a number 10. If you look at that midfield, Donny van der Beek, then you have Pogba, then you have Matic and Fred. It clearly shows you that Van der Beek is the creative man, which he does. He's very creative. He's very, very talented. He's going to give you that little bit of creativity from the midfield, but I don't think he is a player that's going to play with Pogba in the same lineup. He can't play with Bruno, and I agree with everybody who thinks he can play with Bruno, because I think Bruno is typically a number 10 and Van der Beek is typically a number 8. I don't know why Solskjaer wants him to be a number 10, and he doesn't seem to be very comfortable playing as a number 10, and he is a very talented player. United, at the end of the day, will come out with a statement and say, Donny van der Beek wasn't good enough and so on. But I think it's good enough. I think he is a number 8, very good enough. You can play him with Pogba and Fred. You can play him with Scott McTominay and Fred, but don't play him as a number 10. You've got to create, to put that creative player in front of him. He wants to create, chances, but from far deep. He is a Pogba, that kind, Pogba kind of player. He's that Yuri Tillemans kind of player. He is not a number 10. He's not a Maddison. He's not a Grealish. He's not that. And I think one of the reasons why United lost today is, you have so many players almost doing the same thing, and then you want them to do something different. If you want to do that, then you could let Pogba go into advanced positions, because Pogba, we've seen him at Juventus before, as a trying to play as a number 10. Of course, not so much, but at least for him, I think he has the technical ability and that versatility to change. But the tenacity Donny van der Beek has allows him to play as a number 8, not as a number 10. And the other thing I think, which is a big problem with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, is in-game tactics. You've already seen that Fred is shit in this game. He was so bad. He was so poor. Let him go. Just put him off put him off the game. And that's why I really love Mikel. At times, he has in-game tactics. Of course, I was so mad today because he refused to put off Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang in that 3-3 draw with West Ham. But he has that ability to shift in games, to change in games. We've seen him in a couple of times. For example, against Olympiacos, and I always say this. We concede, and then he puts off wherever crap Ceballos and Elneny they are doing, introduces Partey and Odegaard, and the boat is stable. So I thought. At halftime, you have to introduce Bruno, because you could see it is 1-1, but you're not in control of the game, and everything is going is going so poorly in your favor. You need a player who can control the game. Bruno controls games. He is born to do that. He's made to do that. He's done it at Manchester United, and everybody knows how good Bruno Fernandes can be at controlling games. So I think what beat Manchester United today is Leicester City were too good, first and foremost, but they controlled the game. And of course, Leicester City have players that can control the game. Ayoze Perez can control that game. I mean, Yuri Tillemans can control that game. If you can't control the game against Leicester City, then you've got to use tactics like maybe the counter-attack tactic or something like that, which United didn't do. I think that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wanted get this ball, create some chances and then score, which never happened, and he never had a plan B. And I think that's how Manchester United actually lost this game. But of course, you have to also give a lot of credit to Leicester City. Beating Manchester United is not so easy. They've been outrageously so good. And the only credit I'll give Brendan Rodgers, I think this is his 100th game with Leicester City. But the only credit I'll give to him is he has used more than one tactic in this game: the counterattacks, the pressing, and the control of the game. There are moments when they were not controlling the game, but even when United were controlling that game, they were not doing anything. And then there are moments when Leicester City were controlling the game and they created chances. So I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs to look into that. You just can't keep giving away these chances like that. At some point in time, you've got to win a silverware. You're a Manchester United manager. They're going to ask something. The reason as to why, and I still believe it's the reason as to why Frank Lampard is sacked and Arteta is still Arsenal. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is under a lot of pressure, and Arteta is not under pressure. The reason for me is Arteta has won something for Arsenal, because Arsenal, however much we are a small team, however much we are dwindling, the truth is we are used to winning something, however small it is. We are used to winning the FA Cup. We're used to winning, that cup. It is the Emirates Cup. It's the Arsenal Cup. And the moment he wins it, and the Community Shield, every Arsenal, fan deep down in there feels like, probably he's the right manager. Probably he's going to take us somewhere. And Ole needs to do that. He has had a couple of opportunities to do that. Now he's out of the FA Cup. Last season he didn't win anything. He lost 2 semi-finals. If he doesn't win anything this season, it's going to be a hard season for him next season, because literally, if you look at the quality he has, I know United needs a winger. United needs a couple of other players, but the quality he has, if Arsenal win a Europa League, or Tottenham Hotspur win anything this season, of course they can they? But if Arsenal win anything this season, the pressure on Ole is going to be big, because the quality is not the same. And you're saying you don't have the quality to win, yet Arsenal, who are below you, are going to win something probably if we can't win the Europa League, which would be quite, for me, very hard. But I think the road to the final is easy. If you can beat, if you can beat the two teams we have to beat, then the final, whoever comes in the final, because for me, I think you could beat Slavia Praha easily, and then you can beat Villarreal as well. But anyway, United have lost, and they're out of the FA Cup, so they will not be able to add to their tie. They will stay on 12 FA Cup titles until next season.